Good morning, good afternoon, Facebook, Instagram family. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Back to the World. My brother and my sister's keeper, presenting Billionaires Roundtable Conference and Sonetquity Bookclub. Thank you guys for coming on board this New Year's Eve day. It's January, well no, this is December rather. Thank you guys for coming on board. And this is definitely our last podcast for the year of 2024, right? But we're praying, and Lord willing, that the year 25, will bring about many, many, many others, and it can be prosperous, healthy, spiritual, gracious, respectful, and all the above. You know, we're going to be moving in every one of those categories moving forward. That's the only area, and that's the only place that we want to be, right? This being the last podcast of the year, man, this is going to be, I want to talk about a subject that it's going to be one of the hardest things that I've discussed or that I've opened up about personally on social media, right? So I want you to sit down, be patient with me, and tune in. Okay? What I want to talk about today is relationship abuse. I don't even know how to title it. But if you're not married, but you're in a relationship, and if there's a abuse, you don't call it spousal abuse if you're not married. But it's a relationship, and it's a relationship where abuse was present. Okay? And it was me being abused. So I know people are going to say, man, you know, you're manipulating the situation, or you're being or you're changing things up, or you're playing the victim. No, I'm not. But I want to get into the backstory first and foremost. But for many of you that may not have known or may not have been watching many of our past episodes, Back to the World, I served 25 years flat federal time on a 4-life sentence. On a 4-life sentence. So going into the system, I was charged, and my charges represented. They gave me 4-life sentences. So I was told I wasn't getting out. I had to serve 4-life sentences, and this is what I had to prepare myself for going into the system, right? So in those 25 years, I experienced insults. I experienced oppression. I experienced verbal attacks. You know, you were only a number. You were not a person. And prior to my incarceration, I had never ever been treated that way. And so these are things that you had to deal with. And in serving your time, you had to deal with all this oppression and all these mental games and what have you. Right? You were bombarded with questions. Everything that you said was a lie. You know, you were in here for something or for some reason. Right? So you know, and then people say you can't defend the lie. Well, you know, when a situation is built on a lie and the lie is the platform and the infrastructure, you can't defend the truth because no one is wanting to hear it. Okay? So, you know, in the past, no matter how someone may have felt about me, as long as it was opposite and how I felt about myself, you was always able to get away from that. You was always able to move around. You know, you always have a choice. But when your space is limited, you're going to be around the negativity, whether you're trying to block it out or not. And keep in mind, we were under duress every day because we had to hold on to our sanity while the system was trying to break our sanity down. They was trying to break us down mentally. And I've seen many, many, many strong men and women succumb to the tactics in which they did. So when I come home, I'm feeling a certain kind of way, but when I came home into a situation where COVID had just come about. I'd even lost a few friends and a couple of relatives due to COVID, and we didn't even know what it was. So I looked at that moment as a godsend to a degree, with the exception of losing all my family and friends. And we say, hey, you know, everything, God has a hand in everything. So what was that lesson? So we have to sit back to wait and see. But I looked at that point in time that it gave me a chance to get acclimated. It gave me a chance to get my feet beneath me. And so I'll get back out here and I know how to move. So what happened when I stayed inside those 2 years, when I stayed inside on the outside, I felt a sense of comfort. I felt safe. And then when it was time to get out, I was afraid to. I was afraid to get out. And good morning, Brother Donald, Sister Candace. Glad you guys can come on board. So I was afraid to jump out there doing anything. I was afraid. I felt safe. So as I said many times before in my past podcasts, I let my insulation become my isolation. So I was isolated from everyone that was waiting to see me, everyone that wanted to see me. People that wanted to see me for good and people that wanted to see me for bad. Not that I've done anything bad to anyone, but sometimes you just have people that's rooting against you. You know, many people can't stand Boston Celtics, but they love basketball. The only reason they don't like Boston Celtics is because their favorite player may not be playing for that team. And the first thing they'll say, well, Boston is racist. Well, you know, that was a good argument back in the day, but it's not a good one today. So sometimes people hate you for no reason at all, right? And as I said again, when you're on the outside, you can move around. But when you're in prison, when you're incarcerated, you're in a small jungle. See, prisons are set up like kingdoms back in the day during the biblical times. When you look at how cities were built, Rome, the Greek Empire, the Persian Empire, there was a place in Africa where they built their own kingdom, their own empire, and it was populated more than the country of Europe by itself. When you're in prison, you are in a small microcosm of a society, right? So I don't want to lose track of where I'm trying to go here. But anyway, I wasn't dating anyone, and I came home, and I wasn't really getting about to meeting anyone. So there were a few ladies that I was comfortable with that knew me, and knew me in the past. Well, I felt somewhat safe with them. There was a comfort zone there. But then, when they started pressing for more, and I was afraid to commit in that respect, those relationships ended. But these ladies knew me. Well, they had known of me, but nowhere was I the same person that I had been 25, 30 years earlier. Things were different. My thoughts were different, right? My character was probably the same because, I've always and will always respect my fellow brothers and sisters. Okay, so those relationships ended. So I had the opportunity to meet someone, and, we were friends. We communicated back and forth through social media, the whole nine. Well, to speed the story up, I ended up dating this person, and it was somewhat reluctantly, and I'm not saying that to no disrespect towards her, but I just knew, and I told her and I shared with her that I wasn't really prepared to be in a relationship because I didn't have my shit together. And she was like, well, that doesn't matter. And I said, well, it matters to me. I'm not geared to operate that way. But anyway, with persistence, we ended up being in a relationship. And, I've always shared what my dreams, my thoughts were, what my goals were with my business and the whole bit. And in the beginning, this person was very, very supportive. Pulled me all the way in. They were very supportive of what it was that I was trying to do. Well, needless to say, the type of business that we were doing was network marketing, right? And that was the foundation of the business. And a lot of people don't understand network marketing, but the entire society financially in the corporate world is built on a foundation of network marketing. This is how our economy exists, because it has to go full circle. I don't care how you slice it. It's going to always be a lower level and a hierarchy. It's going to always be that. You can't name a business and name how you would get paid any other way than that. So when this young lady had gone out and asked some people to join our book club and our wealth building program, they told her they didn't want to be a part of that because it sounded like a Ponzi scheme, the whole bit. I understood that because I was getting the same thing. Well, what should have been a first sign is that after a while, this person started accusing me of running a illegal business and being a scammer, right? And they said that in passing, but it affected me a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. It affected me, and things like that never affected me before. Hold on a sec. Let me see what Brother Donald's saying. Okay, Brother Donald's saying, he said, "You're right, my brother. Prison is a place where you have to choose your growth, mental, physical, as well as spiritual, or you will stay on a small thinking scale." And this is absolutely correct. You know, you can't be that alligator in a little bitty pond, right? Because you need to stretch out, you need to grow. So you got to go within yourself to be able to come outside of yourself. You know, you have to know the things that you have to feed your mind, your body, and your spirit, right? So I always want positive people around me. Well, needless to say, with this person, right? I noticed the habit. I noticed the sequence of things that started going down. And needless to say, this person started being very, very disrespectful, right? And, you know, when I would address this, all of a sudden they would take the position that I'm being abusive, I'm being manipulative, and I'm a narcissist, and the whole bit. So a time or two I let that slide because, you know, anybody that knows me and knows this, you know, and I'm not bragging on this, but I had been known as a ladies' man, right? And I just didn't let things just disturb me when it came to relationships and what have you, you know. And I was quick to cut ties, you know, and it's just how I was. And you know, when I was locked up, I said, you know what? I've never been faithful. I've been loyal, but I've never been faithful. I said, if God grant me another opportunity, I'm going to try faithful. So in this particular situation, I said, okay, you know, I'm going to deal with some things because I'm going to try faithful. And ladies and gentlemen, just to get through the story, man, it's a lot. This person would say things, man, to tear down my self-esteem. They would say things, you know, I would be asked question after question after question. And in prison, when the officers are constantly asking you questions and you telling them the truth, they're going to act as though you're lying to them. So this is what I was feeling from this particular female. And I would try and share with her things that triggers me because I'm giving you a blueprint on how to deal with me. I'm letting you know I don't feel comfortable in crowds. You know, I don't like going out. I like to consider myself a romantic. So, you know, we could sit at home, watch TV, we can make love, we can talk, we can cook, we can do a whole bunch of other things. Well, that, you know, we'll start that and we'll get into that. Then all of a sudden it'll come to something else. So there was nothing that I can do that was right to satisfy this person. I talk loud sometimes on here. I have hearing problems because of motorcycle decibels and everything. So I talk loud. And if we're talking about if we're getting engaged in something, a conversation, it doesn't have to be that I'm mad or anything. My voice is just high pitched. If I'm talking to her in that tone, she'll talk to me like a kid and tell me to lower my voice. And then when I say, well, if I raise my voice, just tell me to lower it, and then let's stick to the subject. She will constantly tell me that I'm taking over the conversation, so I'm just being quiet to let you finish. So you're not trying to engage in what I'm saying. You're not trying to engage in what I'm doing. And if I share some of my fears, or some of my thoughts, or some of my ideas, and sometimes it's very, very private and personal things, man, you can rest assured, man, later on, man, if there's some tension between us, I'm gonna get a text, and she's gonna spew everything that I told her, and she's gonna twist it around. She's gonna call me a liar. And guys, let me tell you something. I know my worth, and I know what I was charged with. I know who I was and what I was before now. I know what I was. I know. I knew who were my friends and everything. Most of the people that are very close to me, they're gone now, right? Well, this woman would cut through that like a knife, like a sword. And you know, my business is not taking off as quickly as I wanted it to. And I think part of that is because I waited so late or so long to get back into the rat race. And she's my lady at the time, so I'm asking for some assistance, you know, because you constantly reminding me how well you're doing, right? So I asked for some assistance, and man, you rake me across the coals, you know. And you say you tell me that you know you're a sorry businessman, you know, why your business haven't taken off. You know, you tell people about money, you're a financial consultant. I would never listen to you. I never listen to you the whole bit because I see the way you're doing it. And see, and I try to tell her every day, I don't have a job. Every day I wake up, I gotta cast my line in the pond of life, and then reel it in and hope that I catch something. And for an old man, under those circumstances, don't get me wrong, it's not a grade curve, but for an old man, that's not out there in the streets, man, I do okay. But of late, there have been things that have caused me to get in a financial rut. And before this person would lift a hand to help me, they would berate me. And there were times, man, where I would question certain things about myself. And there have been times when I just didn't communicate, man. I didn't. And all of a sudden I would get calls, I would get texts, I would get crying, I would get I'm sorry. And I'd never experienced this before, right? So I didn't know what it looked like. And I used to think that men are lying when they say that they were going through abuse. Not a woman beating on you, but just berating you. And like I try to tell her, that you no longer respect me. You no longer respect me. And there was a point in time, you know, I truly had love for her. And then things just got out of whack. And I told her that, you know, this is what's crazy, but I want you to understand when I say this. I said, you know what? I still love you, but I don't like you very much. Before she can get into the crux of what I meant by that, she cursed me out, you know. And it was a relationship, guys, where I had to deal with a lot of hang-ups, a lot of idiosyncrasies, a lot of pet peeves. I'm the one that had to bend. I'm the one that had to compromise. And it was always something, it was always a situation that I had to conform to whatever it was that she didn't like or wasn't dealing with the whole bit. And I'm going through this and I'm like, wow, I wonder if anybody else going through this. So, in the past, I would have never done what I'm doing right now. Well, in the past, they didn't have social media to have this done. But I would have never talked to anybody about this because I don't know anyone that could have treated me this way and could have gotten away with it. Right? So I found myself, guys and ladies, I find myself starting to develop a hate for this person. And this person would say things to me, man, that guys in the streets, man, would never part their lips to say. Keep in mind, I've been involved in the drug business off and on. I'll put it this way: I had been in the streets since 1977, 76, if you will. And when I was charged with drugs and organized crime, I operated in the streets at the top of the heap. I was at the top of the food chain. So what I mean by that is this: I would not have survived in the streets from 1976 to 1996 by backing up and being weak, right? And I borrowed $600 from her. She threatened to sue. Hey, look, before the note was even due, right? If it was a note, she threatened to sue. I told her that, if I couldn't pay the whole thing, if I couldn't pay it back out, whatever I make that month that I have over, if it's just $200, you get $100. If it's $100, you get $50. All right. She told me she didn't want it that way. She wanted it the way she gave it to me. Right? And I say, hey, look, you're supposed to feel the way you feel about your money. That's your money. I respect that. And you know what? I will listen to you tell me anything concerning your money, about your money. Right? And I respect that. But you're not hurting. And to force me to pay you at a time when I couldn't pay you would be hurting me. Right? As long as I'm willing to give something towards it, will that be okay? She told me no. I said, you know what? I said, there have been situations, man, where I've owed people millions of dollars, literally. And they waited on it. I said, you give me more heat than a person I've owed hundreds of thousands of dollars to. She said, well, that's them. I said, but this is me. I said, I'm still here. I made good on it. Give me the room. Give me the space to make good on it. So the mistake was, not just the mistake. Every time we would talk, the conversation would always lead back to the $600. And ladies and gentlemen, it's just been a month last week. It's just been a month. Right? And I just think that it becomes a situation where it's a person that just want to have leverage on you and want to shit on you. Now here's what I'm getting at. I realized that I had to talk about this just as I had to seek therapy. Because just as I told her, nobody would press me the way that she was pressing me. And nobody would talk to me and disrespect me the way that she was doing. So at some point, I'm feeling like I'm not going to ignore this shit. Right? And now, I see the games that you play. So now, when I get into my bag, now you're going to cry and play the victim. And with my past, everybody's going to believe Everybody's going to believe you. So I had to sever myself from that situation. I'm going to take care of the debt, but I'm going to sever all ties. And I know this video is going to get a reaction, because I know that they're going to probably be watching the whole bit and know that I'm not lying. But you're going to tell everybody that I am the victimizer. And because I have an extensive criminal record, people will believe that. But you try to strip away all of my manhood. And when I let you do what you do, you think that I'm dumb or I'm stupid, and I don't see what you're really doing. And then sooner or later you're calling and you're crying, and you're going to tell everybody that I'm abusing you. See, what I think that you really should do, and you don't do it, I think that you should really seek counseling yourself. You know, there were things you said about me concerning my counseling, and this is why a lot of black men don't go and seek counseling, because of people like you. You try to say things to denigrate me. You said quite a few things to hurt me. You said some things to make me, even for a second, a split second, doubt myself. The lady said, I don't see how you own a bank. I don't see how you own a bank and you bad with finances. Hell, I haven't really had any finances. I'm doing it with smoke and mirrors. You don't realize how good that is. But at the same time, I have paperwork and documentation stating, you know, what I did and what I didn't do. But you say things just to get a razz out of me. I'll never say anything just to hurt someone, man. I'm beyond that. And grown people don't do that. And I think that the young lady, I call her young, I think that she has issues. And they're deep, deep, deep issues. You don't like to hear anything bad. You don't want to watch anything bad on TV. When people raise their voice to you, you shut all the way down. You close off, right? And I think that there's some things that has happened in your past that cause you to be that way, because you're very, very fragile, but you come off and wanting to be tough. But I don't think you realize who you're doing this with. I don't think that you get the message. And it's the counseling and the therapy that's keeping the peace. Because if not, I would have been, I would have been, I'd have been off the chain. And that won't solve anything. It'll just hurt me in the long run. And I'm not gonna commit no self-inflicted pain. I'm not gonna do that. And brothers and sisters, as I said, you know, it's the therapy that's been saving me. I've never had to deal with insecurities before. But 25 years, man, the prison system has put a working on me. Good afternoon, Brother Kendrick. Yeah, the system has put a working on me, man, because every day I have to defend. Because, see, officers in prison, this is their job, this is their livelihood. And they want to always remind you that you're in prison. They're not. But which they are, in their mind. And physically, you know, you just go home every day. But I don't care if you owned, I don't care if you own 10 yachts, a villa, and 10 mansions. To these correctional officers, you aren't shit. And that was part of their playbook, to remind you that you weren't nothing. You was less than whatever was stuck to the bottom of their shoe, right? And you know, and I was at a facility. I was at an institution where I had run out of tissue. So I had to go to the office, and ask. I had to go to the CEO's office and ask him, could I get a roll of tissue? Could he give me a roll of tissue? Because he would keep the tissue in a box right behind his desk. So I asked this guy for a roll of tissue. The guy asked me, he said, didn't we pass out tissue? I said, yeah, you guys passed out tissue, but my celly and I, he used quite a bit. He said, well, that's your fault. He said, I don't believe you. He said, you stashing? I said, I'm not stashing any tissue. So we had this back and forth, man, and then, now he got to come back, and he wants to come to me. He said, I'm coming to your house. If I see you have any tissue there, if I see you have any tissue there, I'm going to take it, and I'm not going to give you any, and this, that, and the third. I said, man, why would I bullshit you about tissue? And I'm feeling like a little kid, man, but it didn't piss me off. So then when he come to my spot, I don't have any tissue, but I have the brown paper towels. So he tell me that I could have used the paper towels for it. I said, why should I have to do that when you have the tissue? All I'm asking you for is for one roll until they pass out the others. Man, this is the kind of shit that I had to go through with this lady, man. And I've always been an introvert. Before therapy, I wouldn't share much, man. I would never gotten on here and shared no shit like this or whatever. But that's what's helping me get it out of my system. And it's it would trigger me to feel a certain kind of way, and I don't like the way that it was starting to make me feel. And then you start doubting yourself. Trust me, I'm not an authority on relationships. I'm not. I'm one of the last people. And to all the ladies out there that I may have dated in the past, and some that I may intend to date in the future, man, I just want to apologize to you guys, because, I would have never tolerated anything like this in the past. And then I was wondering, I said, well, could this be God's way, man, of opening my eyes to a situation? See, somebody cheat on me, somebody going out, screwing around on somebody else, man. Anybody that know me know that shit never bothered me. I didn't care about anything like that. Sometimes, you tell me that you got a guy on the side, I'm saying, cool. That, that'll fill up some of the time I'm not able to spend with you. You know what I mean? And that's not being cocky. That's just the way life was, because things were moving, things were happening, right? But don't get me wrong. I don't think this woman was cheating on me, because we didn't have that type of thing. Well, at least I didn't. But I don't think that she was cheating on me. I think she was having so much fun abusing me. She was having so much fun abusing me. And then I realized, when guys or ladies stay in a relationship like that, they're hoping that the person will change. Or then that person will cry and be upset or whatever and blaming you. And then you give in. And now you're contributing to that behavior. You are actually a contributor. So this day forward, it stops. It stops. And I'm like this, right? I'm still like this. There's no form of intimacy because your ways have turned me off. All of your idiosyncrasies and everything, it has turned me off. But I can still be a friend. But now you can't even have that. You violated in a way that a woman should never violate a man, nor a man to a woman. But you do your best to attempt to mentally castrate me. And I'm not going to ever let that happen. If prison couldn't do it, you can't. But I'm here to tell you now firsthand, I know what it is like to be in a relationship where there's abuse. You know, and I know there'll be a time you say, well, I put my hands on you and the whole bit. I did grab you and hold you to let you feel that you talk to me crazy. You talk to me very disrespectful. You talk to me the way you talk to me like you think you can whip me. Well, I just want to show you that you can. And I gave you that demonstration. But had I not talked about this in therapy, and had I not would do what I'm doing now, one of us could have gotten hurt, if not both. And Lord knows that I don't want to do that to you, and I damn sure don't want it to happen to me, right? Oh, and I feel like I'm sleeping with the enemy. And I don't care whatever is going wrong in my life, but when you say that you're there for a person the whole bit, if it don't go your way, you wish them nothing but failure. Nothing. If you can't do something to help someone, damn sure don't do anything to hurt them. And all I would hear, you can't see it because you're the one that's doing it. And sometimes I don't even think you're aware of it. I just think that you just have a dark heart. Right after you get finished telling me what a failure I am, and how sorry I am, and what a piece of shit I am, then you'll turn around and you'll tell me how successful your relatives are. And if I say anything about it or whatever the situation is, I'm jealous of them. Right? You challenge everything that I say. And if it's my opinion, then you want it to come off as being something derogatory. It's only my opinion. Case in point, ladies and gentlemen, I know a couple of you guys on here, man, y'all been in the system like I have. Right? And I made the comment when Big Meech got out of prison. Now, keep in mind, I don't know Big Meech. I don't know Meech at all. There's a quality about him that I admire, right? But when it comes to selling drugs the whole bit, there was nothing those guys were doing that I wasn't doing. And to a degree, my operation was much more sophisticated than many of theirs. Now, did I get the notoriety? Did I get the public attention the whole bit? No, I didn't. But you see, I'm not jealous of that because I lived my life in the background. So many people don't know my name, let alone know who I am. And that's of nobody's fault but my own. As I said, I've always lived isolated. And there were many guys that said, man, with all the money that you had and all the places that you've lived and gone, how could you keep it so low that way? Because I was raised that way. So when that brother came on and when he came on and he was getting his nails done, he was getting a pedicure and everything, and he had on, $100 and something thousand Rolex watch and a diamond necklace. Well, I made the comment, first of all, in the feds, you can't have on a watch that's over $100, right? Even when you're in the halfway house. And the reason for that is, in the event anybody would steal it, the whole bit. And then he had on the diamond necklace. And I just made the comment that, you're really not supposed to have any jewelry that expensive and everything. And I was like, man, he's in a halfway house. And, when you served as much time as I have, and everybody don't think the way I do, but keep in mind, I'm still thinking like an isolationist. When I come home, I don't want to make a grand showing like that, because then it would look like you have not changed. And keep in mind, oftentimes, the feds will still be thinking that you're still involved in something that you should not be involved in. And if you start these people are looking at you, some of the people that you're bringing in your circle may still be in the streets. So now they won't bust you with nothing, but they will bust the people that are in your circle. So you have to think for them as well. And I just made the comment and said that, I don't think that, he should have been showing anything like that. And, because just like I see it, and I have an opinion, you got a lot of people who are in law enforcement that are mad that he's out. And let me tell you, all they need is just a little bit of a purpose or a reason to start investigating you, and then there you have it. And you might be clean, but you got some of your homeboys that's still in the streets that's around you, so now everybody that comes around you, they're going to start investigating them. So I'm like, he's not thinking that far. And maybe I'm just paranoid, and maybe some of you may agree with what she said, is that I was jealous. I was jealous because I didn't have anybody outside doing anything like that for me and the whole bit. And I hadn't thought of that, because I didn't have anybody. Most of the people that was doing things for me passed on. So I never thought about it that way, and it hurt me because it was very disrespectful. And you make the comment that I'm jealous. Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody that know me, man, know that I'm not a jealous person. I will celebrate another man's victory. I admire one thing in particular about that brother, right? Selling drugs is easy. You're only good as your plug. If you got 1 million keys, man, then that means you have 1 million sales. If you only have 10 keys, you just have 10 sales. So you're no better or no good than your plug. What I admired about him was the fact that he was able to bring over 100 guys underneath his banner and then create a circle in which to distribute his merchandise, the whole bit. But me being an introvert, I could never have that many people around me and feel comfortable. I love the outcome as far as the marketing strategy. Man, but I couldn't sleep at night with 100 people. My mind is scratching, man, and I'm going crazy that 100 people could have told on me. It would have drove me crazy. Even when the brother just got out, the brother Rayful Edmonds, he just passed away. May he rest in peace, right? When Rayful got out, I would have never done what Rayful did. And what Rayful did, he got on the camera at an airport saying that I'm back, and he's laughing in the camera and he's smiling and he's showing that he's at an airport the whole bit. I would have never done that. Now you say, Tone, why you wouldn't have done that when you're free the whole bit? Why I would never have done that? Because first of all, I would have never done what Rafe had done. He cooperated with the feds. He was a rat. Right? So now, you're a rat. And you're coming out and you're rubbing your victory in the face of some of the people that you've hurt. Everybody's not pleased that you're out. There are some people that may want to bring harm to your doorstep. And you're coming back and you're shouting, I'm out, I'm back. That doesn't look good. That's not humbling. And I just would have wanted to move away and be peaceful, man, and not to really be a thorn in somebody's side. And if I told on some people, I damn sure wouldn't want them to know that I'm out and about. They would have just heard that I'm out. But people start knowing where he was and what city he was in before he passed away. Right? And there were many people trying to, on social media trying to say maybe he was poisoned. His death was a mystery. Maybe some of his enemies had gotten to him, or what have you. So this person had worked a deal on me that had me question myself, oh man, am I jealous for saying that? And see, maybe some of my peers, man, some of my other guys that's been in the system, maybe you'd have been like, if I had $100,000 watch, I would have put it on too. But that's not me. And I'm just like you're allowed to your opinion, I'm allowed to mine. But jealousy had nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. I just know that I realize what abuse is in a relationship. And there are relationships that I may have been in the past where I may have inflicted pain or abuse. And I may have inflicted that by not staying around as soon as there was disagreements or arguments and what have you. And I would not have listened to the person that was trying to plead their case. And see, one thing that I know now that I didn't know then, I'm a better listener. And because of therapy, I'm able to recognize it and talk about it. And because of social media, I'm able to share that pain, that breakthrough, that story with a lot of brothers and sisters out there that may be going through this. But see, people never realize, because a woman is not physically, on an average, a woman is not physically stronger than a man. But in many instances, women, they can tear you down mentally. It's not that they're mentally stronger than you. But if you're not doing anything to uplift your man, why would you want to do anything to destroy them? That's what enemies do. I watched a movie many years ago and it's called Sleeping with the Enemy. I understood that movie then. I experienced that movie now. So if there's any of you out there, man, that's going through anything like this, man, stand up. Don't get physical. Don't be on the news, man, where you've done something crazy. We don't want to do that. We don't want to allow that into the equation. So I'm just going to walk away. And I'm telling the world that. I'm just going to walk away because I don't want to be hurt. I don't want to be hurt any longer mentally. And I don't want to physically hurt anyone myself. And I just want to get off this merry-go-round going back and forth with different petty shit. No one wins. No one. So try and finish this cigar. Let me see what Brother Donald's saying. Yeah, Brother Kendrick. See, Brother Donald, I'm going to try to bring you on and see if you're still here. Couldn't add guests. It said couldn't add you, brother. I was trying to add you here. I was trying to add you, brother. Okay. I tried adding you too, Reg. For whatever reason. I'll give you a call. I'll give you a call in a little bit. Yeah. So you know, and ladies and gentlemen, understand, I didn't do this to hurt this person. I didn't do this to hurt them. I did this to prevent the hurting of me. Right? Because as I said, you know, there's a deal that's been done on us, man. Everybody that's been incarcerated. Many people react differently, and you don't know. See, PTSD is something. If you go out of space, and when you come back, if you go to the military war and you come back, if you're kidnapped and held hostage and you come back, there's a transitional period that this country sends you through, and it helps you transition, and you go through a debriefing and everything. When you go to prison, man, when your time is up, they just kick you right out the door. You'd have to find some sort of help or assistance, and that's what we're going to be doing with our upcoming business, to where we're going to be able to assist the brothers and sisters that's going to be transitioning back to society and helping them deal with their mental issues. Oftentimes we're walking around going through shit and we don't even know it. You know, I'm right there in abuse. I'm right there in abuse, and I'm seeing all the signs. I recognized the signs when they were happening. I recognized it. But I didn't react to it because I didn't know how. I felt like I was bigger than that. I was stronger than that. I'll make it through that. But it was causing me to feel a certain way about someone that I never wanted to feel that way about. It was causing me to feel a way that I've never felt about not even my enemies. Not my mortal enemies outside. Because see, in the business that I was in, my enemies made me stronger. Yes, my enemies made me stronger. Because see, your enemies are going to tell you the truth. Your enemies are going to tell you the truth, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to cause you to step your game up. Because if not, they're going to take your head off. Man, there's a whole lot more, man, that I could share, man, but we just don't have the time, and it's not pretty. But you know, I'm just confessing to my audience that, you know, enough is enough, and I'm prepared to move on. And I know this person's going to say, you just put that out there, you know, you try to hurt me. It's going to be about me hurting them, not about me helping me. It's going to be about me hurting them. And then, you know, the leverage is going to be the fact that she helped me. And that's what it's going to talk about. It's going to be like, I want it back. I want every penny back. You know, and you know what? The person that I am, man, once I get it, you got it. how can you hold anything against me after that? There's no strings attached after that. And I think that sometimes, see, people find pleasure in misery. Now keep in mind, this person would say that I owe them, so now they can continue to harass me. But then once I pay them, there's no reason for them to harass me, but they still will. So they find pleasure in having that attachment. I've seen it many, many times before. And this is a lady, man. She's no kid. But in her text, man, she's trying to say all the little hip shit that the young guys are saying and the young women are saying over social media. Nobody our age used the term goofy. Nobody used these terms that's on social media. And this is what I'm being bombarded with. I'm being bombarded with a lot of shit that people who are probably 25 and 26 or 27 says. And that's when you're influenced by social media. And she's definitely too old to be influenced by social media. But she is. And I'm too old to be attacked by it. So I don't know, many might say, man, why do you get on here and do this? Why do you get on here and you air your dirty laundry? I'm not airing my dirty laundry, but this is lethargic. This is therapeutic. This is exorcism at its best. This is getting over and exorcising my demons, the things that truly bothers me, truly hurt me. I had an intervention on Christmas Day with my brother and his family. And after that feeling and coming clean with them, that's what made me want to do this. Because in between then and now, I had an exchange with this person. And we can talk about anything, man, flowers, the whole bit. We can talk about it. But you know where our conversation will go after that? Can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question? And now you're starting to sound like a prosecutor. I feel like I'm being interrogated. I tell you that this triggers me. Sometimes maybe you should just go into the question as opposed to asking me, can I ask you a question? Because now my mind is going, oh shit, here it comes. I try to share this with this person and they don't see it and they continue to do the same thing. But they will call me a narcissist. I said once before, I asked my therapist, give me the definition of a narcissist. Give me all the stages, all the medical stages of narcissism. And he told me that it was about nine of them. And I asked him, did he think that I was a narcissist? And he said, no. I said, let's compare. So we did. And out of 7 characteristics of a narcissist, I shared 1. And what that was my level of confidence. And see, this is what I try to tell everybody. I'm not a good salesman because, salesmen come off, sometimes they can be disingenuous and they don't care about it. I can't tell you a lie and feel good about it. And I don't know how to make the truth sound any better than the truth. I don't know how to add perfume to it. I don't know how to make it smell any better. All I could tell you and all I can ask of you is to believe in my character. Now, if you're someone that doesn't believe in my character, it's pointless. Because all I have is my character and my good name. That's the most valuable thing that I possess. ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what this episode may have done for you. If I bored many of you, man, I apologize and I'm sorry, but I will let you know this. I do feel at this very moment a load has been taken off my shoulders just to put this out there and let others know that you're not alone. And you could be being abused and don't even know it. And don't even recognize it. Right? Well, today is near the dawning of a new year. And we have to understand and realize that we don't want to repeat anything that may have been bad or negative that has happened in this present year. And we want to make changes, no matter how subtle, no matter how drastic. But if we're about growth, and if we're about unity, and if we're about communicating with one another, and embracing one another, even our differences, let's set forth on that pathway today, starting today. And let us please let the year 25 be far greater, more fruitful, and more prosperous than last year. Happy New Year's to you all. And may God, Allah, Jehovah, whatever name you go by, let him continue to smile on you and your family. And be blessed. Peace.